The old catchphrase says it wasn't much. I can't pronounce the Japanese ones. Uh, Osamasmasta. No, I do not recall the Japanese word of it all. But I say it was indeed much. And I'm not saying that in a completely complimental way either, as this is the proclaimed final chapter of Shokugeki no Soma. But there have been some promises that we're only gonna get 3 more monthly chapters called Les Desserts, where we're actually gonna see where everyone is later to fully finish the series. But as for Shokugeki no Soma, this is the final dish. And you know what? Let's take these off because it is the final one. So, what are my thoughts on this chapter? Was it satisfying? No, it wasn't. It wasn't really that satisfying. But then again, I had learned not to really be that satisfying. What was really, but it did keep the status quo that has always been Shokugeki no Soma. You know, Erina forever being the tsundere, never acknowledging Soma's dish and everything more. So the angry anime fan here to bring you the final Shokugeki no Soma chapter. Unless, of course, you count less dessert. She eats Soma's dish, and she does indeed feel the many different methods and how much he has polished his skills. And so Soma begins to talk about that she remembered the egg Benedict. The muffin is and he mentions everything from the muffin is the mixed rice I learned to make things pretend dinner, as well as that egg Benedict he did on the training camp. Everything Soma has done is that he has always been studying his dishes. So, even as Mana sees this, she feels a little overwhelmed because she has always believed that one keeps facing the dark god tank sooner or later the atrophy. They won't be able to bring out the cooking except for great caution. However, she sees Soma that no matter what he keeps on working. And he finally says the little speech that is really meaning here, and that is, "You have forgotten, Erina. Well, Nike, Erina. You know the person you want to face the most with your cooking. You're a mess right now, and this isn't like you. Stop thinking pointless things and be honest with yourself. She's right now the one who wants you cooking most is your mother." So with that. What Erina just wanted to face was that she just wanted Mana to say, "I want to eat Erina's cooking," but she has been lonely for a very long time. So, Erina, eats, and at least I presume that is Erina, and she has actually the bestowing herself, although that is so powerful that even the roof caves in. So, we're basically saying the tower itself got naked. So in a way we could say that Erina's cooking or bestowing reached a level of Naikiri that no one has ever reached before. It has pulls a supple strengthening. As she serves the dish, however, she actually says to Soma that his dish is disgusting. However, she's doing that only because she is Naikiri Erina. She will saying that it's far inferior to the dish, and Soma of course says that's how she is. So, Mana herself can just say that she thinks she finally understands what that boy who poured everything into one person is cultivating a dish never seen before. So as the two of Irina and Soma has their friendly rivalry banter, as well as some blushing by Irina, she proclaims that she will never lose against the new dishes from here on out. Yeah, it is a true rivalry and a true ship tease, as well as finally Irina coming back to what the character she always was supposed to be, a tsundere. So, but even Soma himself acknowledges that if it weren't for Erina, he would never have got this far, especially since someone said his dish was disgusting. And for the first time ever, he feels like he can bring out Soma's cooking. So with declaration in his heart and people looking up in the moonlight, he says that we'll clash head on from here on out. The cooking is not over. With that, it's the final chapter of Shokugeki no Soma. A very bad end to it, really. It's not a satisfying ending at all. However, we have gotten some informations here that we, as I said in the beginning of this chapter, we're gonna see something called Le Desert. Something like, so, Soma has finally ended. However, look forward to see what happens after the main story for a three-part series in Jump Gaga. And in case you don't know, Jump Gaga is monthly, so we will not get this in a month or two. So it's basically after the Battle of Blue is now those people's past, Soma and the rest of the cast's future. So well, maybe this one will be the one satisfying conclusion to Shuki no Soma. After all, we never saw their other years, so maybe we'll see in through this one all the different years, what they have been doing and what they are doing as adults. So maybe that one will at least be satisfying to read. But as for this one, no, not a single bit. Do not have the one and only positive thing I want to do is Mana finally admitting she was wrong and Erina getting back to her tsundere side. That's the only thing I praise for this chapter. Other than that, I have nothing good to say. But I'm still not gonna rate it. So, yeah. With this, thank you for the meal. And I'll conclude by saying, as I repeated last time, I am angry at Shonen Jump for not giving new series a chance. Yes, you can blame me and many other people for not reading them, but again, I do not know how to subscribe to manga chapters so they do become popular. This.com is not exactly informative when it comes to that. And if they're gonna release, and why don't they just release an app that allows you to do it? It will be the smartest decision ever. However, that's beside the point. Back to Shokugeki no Soma. Shokugeki no Soma was in the end something. I mean, I remember when I started reading it. I remember what I fell in love with it for. The characters, the situation. It was really a nice adventure, and I got happy that it became so popular. I continued reading it, and I remembered I was on the edge of my seat. We got to that autumn selection festival or something, and I remember how much I was pumped for that. Then Soma lost, and I was this close in dropping the manga. Yeah, no kidding, I was this close. I gave it two more tries, and it actually bounced back. And then we got the festival, we saw something more, we saw something a little bit more awesome. Then we were introduced to Asami, the first real villain in this manga. It was a little bit insufferable seeing that, but the author did wonder on Erina's character, from a very annoying alpha bitch to a very likable tsundere after that. But then we got to the exam. The exam got slow, we got some new characters, and finally the Elite 10 cook-off, which I have to say, I think that was the beginning of my time when I began to drop my faith in Shokugeki no Soma. It was completely predictable, and it was completely and utterly bull. The rebels should have won, not to mention that the casts that should have been on that team should have been Hoyu as well. I am still so very cross that Megumi lost. She did not deserve to lose that one. And when it finally was ended, Asami was over, I was thinking we were gonna have some good thing, but no, we didn't get that. We got introduced to a very annoying villain, and almost every single chapter I read after that, I just couldn't enjoy it anymore. So for me, I can summarize Shokugeki no Soma as it wasn't perfect, it wasn't bad, but unfortunately it suffered very badly in the end. As a cooking manga, it was very enjoyable to read. As a drawing manga, very wonderful art. But in a story-wise tell, unfortunately, it eventually faltered. But it's cooking. How can you do it anything else? Finally, what's the final thoughts to say about Shokugeki no Soma? No, well, I'm not really sure. It has its moments. But it also is the fact that in the end, the expectations were just too high. And unfortunately, I have to say that for me, Shokugeki no Soma is a manga which I started to worship, but in the end, just decided to turn my back on. It's a sad truth, but that's the fate of some mangas. And unfortunately, Shokugeki no Soma was that one for me. But you can give me your thoughts if you have any.